Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us at today's social media training. Today, we'll be sharing some best practices and key takeaways on how to best maximize the Demand9 Digital Action Toolkit. There's a lot of good stuff in there, and so we really appreciate you all taking the time to be in this call and for us to go over all the different materials and assets that we can all use to amplify the Demand9 campaign. Today, I am joined by Ariana Rodriguez, who's our communications manager at Revolve Impact, and Alyssa Green, who is our senior project manager at Revolve Impact. Both of them are our in-house experts on all things communications, content creation, content management, and logistics, and so I'm really excited for them to be here to guide us through this training. So let's start with opening up the Demand9 Digital Action Toolkit. This should be accessible via the demand9.org website. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to the lovely Ariana Rodriguez to walk us through our calls to action.
So it's always good to repost, reshare, and remind your audience what you're working on.
Thanks, Ariana. On that note, this is why in the toolkit, you'll see this in slide 7 of the toolkit, we have identified 3 core messages, right? So if you're ever thinking about, well, how do I talk about Demand9 in a succinct way, in a quick way, that's like going to be easy for folks to understand, this is the place that you can go to. You can copy and paste this, you can share it and use it and edit it to, and say it in your tone, in your voice. But what's important is that we go back to these 3 core messages. And that's 1, we drive people to the pledge, to sign the pledge, to support Title IX, to support a stronger Title IX protections and enforcement. And then number 2, that Title IX benefits everyone. Number 3, the work is not done. So that's why we're doing this campaign. We're asking people to help us to sign the pledge. And so that's a little bit about that. All right. And I think I'm going to pass it again to Ariana to talk about like what's in the toolkit.
Yeah, so in our toolkit, we have static posts, so the images that you see on the left. And then we also have videos, GIFs or GIFs. And all of these can be used on your social media platforms, whether that be Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. The images will be best to use on Instagram, on Twitter, and Facebook. Any video content we'll be getting to in a little bit. There's some best practices for each additional platform that you're on. But some of the things that are in the toolkit are the Demand9, all these infographics that you can share multiple times. You can turn them into a carousel to use on Instagram. On Twitter, it would look like a grid. And on Facebook, it would be the standard photos and images. And these are the videos, horizontal and vertical. Horizontal is best used for Facebook and Twitter. Right now, platforms like Instagram are prioritizing the vertical videos. And those are the ones that you'll see on the right side. And those are, it's going to be best to use those on Instagram. Like I said, they tend to be, the algorithm is currently pushing that type of content to the top because they have now announced that they are a video first platform. So you will want to use the ones on the right, which are the vertical ones. And if your organization is on TikTok, you would use those as well. The horizontal, of course, are beautiful as well. We want to share those in addition, but it's just good to know which platforms are prioritizing which type of video content.
Awesome. Thank you, Ariana. And I also want to highlight too, in the toolkit, there are sample captions. We also note like which platforms these would be, utilized on. So again, similarly to the core messaging, you can use the sample captions and change it up based on like your audience and how they respond best to you. So we can, we have the sample captions there just as a guide, but obviously we would love for y'all to personalize it so that it really hits the mark for your audience. And all right, I'm going to pass it to.
So number 2 is please share the pledge. That is the main initiative of this Title IX Demand 9 campaign. If you visit the website has a little button that says click to sign the pledge, and that takes you to another site where you will enter in your name, your zip code, and your email address. For our international partners, if you need a US postal code, please feel free to ask me. You can use 90034, you can use 90064. You can also just email us and we can help really get you involved in this campaign. But like Deborah mentioned, the week of the anniversary, our numbers doubled. So that means you guys did a great job in amplifying the pledge. Another way to do this is, I'm not sure if you can see my phone, but if you create a story on Instagram, you can use the little link chiclet right here, and it'll let you add a custom link. And so you'll just paste the link to the pledge itself, not the Demand 9 website, into the URL. And then you can also go ahead and customize what the text says. So they could say sign now, sign the pledge, join the pledge, whatever that is. And then that is driving people directly from your story to the site to sign the pledge. And that's a great way if you're not ready to have a static post on, let's say, your feed, if it's not going with and this is something you can do every week, because this is an ongoing campaign. So utilize our social managers. I'm on this call, I'm sure are geniuses because you're running your org's social and all the ways to amplify this. So we just want to emphasize that this is the way that we're really pushing this initiative forward.
Yeah, don't be afraid to post too much, especially on stories. Like Alyssa mentioned, if you're sharing the link, you're sharing the pledge, it's okay to post it multiple times. Going back to our calls to actions, we want to encourage everyone to switch your social media thumbnails and your banners. So that would be the image that you see for your profile on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. And also if you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook as well, you can also switch your banner. And that would be the image that folks see when they land on your profile. Again, we want to encourage visibility and that it's the 50th anniversary of Demand 9, and this is the pledge that we want everyone to sign.
We also have pop-up banners that can go on your organization's website. So when someone goes to your personal website, the banner on the right side, so you can be a part of history, sign now, or demand9.org. We have those already created. So you just have to have your web host or whoever manages your website import that as a pop-up ad when someone visits your site. So that is another way to drive your audience towards signing the pledge.
Also, we encourage everyone to stay informed, follow the hashtag Demand9 to keep up with the latest campaign updates. We will be regularly updating our newsletter and announcing other ways for folks to be involved, how they can support. And we're also going to be asking folks like you all to let us know what your organization is working on so we can highlight it in our newsletter. And we will send those out to all of our partners. So I'll pass it to Alyssa to talk more about that.
We know everybody loves forms. So thank you to everyone who has filled out the onboarding form. You don't know how simple you've made my life by providing your websites and your logos that I can easily upload to our website to show that you are a partner. Now we're doing the same thing with your content. If you create content around Demand 9 and it's wonderful, like the things that you guys have been creating and you're very proud of it, please feel free to share it with us. So we've created this form. Ria is going to drop the link in the chat. But essentially you fill this out. If it's Dropbox link, if it lives on your website, if it lives on social media, whatever the link to that content is, you can drop it here. If it's something that hasn't been put out yet and you want to share it with us first because you feel like there might be an opportunity for a social collaboration or something of that sort, feel free to fill out this form and then send us an email about the collaboration. But anything that you do that you're proud of that's around Title IX, please fill out this form so we can stay in communication with you, and so that we can then also include it in our newsletter, because y'all are putting in a lot of hard work and we want that to be seen.
So some additional ways that you can utilize social media is by using hashtags and also tagging accounts in the post. In the toolkit, you can see the Instagram handles and the Twitter handles and the Facebook, all the handles for the accounts in the toolkit that you'll want to tag whenever you're sharing the videos, the images, the GIFs. This increases engagement, this increases visibility and shares. So we want to make sure that we're using that. For example, if I'm a partner and I'm posting and I'm tagging the Billie Jean King leadership, perhaps a social media manager will comment, right? And this will continue to increase visibility and engagement in that way. We want to use our primary hashtags that are listed here on the slide and in the toolkit, because this is another way to have a central area where all of the graphics and all of the social assets will live. So anyone that's clicking on the hashtag will see everyone's post. And so it's just a really great way to build digital community in the digital space. And so we want to encourage folks to keep using hashtags, use the primary hashtags, and then here's an example of how to utilize hidden hashtags.
Thank you both. We do have some additional best practices, some tricks and tips to share with y'all. But before we do, I'd love to just take a pause to see if there are any questions so far. I know we went over this really fast, the different calls to action. So I'm going to pause to see if there are any questions or suggestions, or anyone that has tried something with their content and it worked really well. Would love for us to open up the chat, or you can mute yourself as well to share.
I'd also like to mention that we have a QR code that some orgs have taken the opportunity to put on their printed material and to share at conferences and during webinars to push people to also sign the pledge and just visit the website and get to know more about the Demand 9 campaign. So if you do have opportunities with your organization to use that QR code, it is in the toolkit, and it's also something that we can scale and also email to you if you need it larger, but it's pretty scalable on its own. Anyone who can use editing software should be able to get it into your brochure or printed items.
It's a really great call, Alyssa. Thank you. All right, so we can move on to our next slide, but we do have time as well at the end for questions. And so if you don't have any questions right now, that's totally fine. And we can do Q&A at the end.
So I'm not sure how many people utilize Linktree, but there's also link in bio. There's numerous companies that capitalize on that little space you have in your social media bios, and we urge you to utilize it to the full extent. Well, this is an example of Athletes for Impact's Instagram Linktree, and what we've done is we have our first link is obviously our website. I'm assuming any of y'all who have these services will put your services first. And then next we have the link to the pledge, which is next. So if anyone clicks there, it will redirect them to sign the pledge. And then underneath it, we also decided we have Linktree Pro, and so we can include videos. So we then put the video for Demand 9 as the next clickable link. And it's also, you can rearrange the links in the order. So sometimes if you have other initiatives that need to go above it, you can move it and so on and so forth. But Instagram allows you to have a link in your bio. I know TikTok does. Social media has different areas for you to utilize, sharing the link to the pledge as well as the link to the Demand 9 website in your bios. So if anyone needs assistance with this, please feel free to reach out to myself or the AFRI/Revolve team. But it's pretty straightforward when you go in there. But this is a great way to passively support the campaign.
And just to add as well, and Alyssa, you're and Ariana, you're both the experts on this, and I know there's a free version of Linktree too that anybody can use, and so you don't have to have the pro version to do this, and you still be able to link folks to the pledge. But it is nice to have this kind of service where you can have a visual, everything is branded, and it looks amazing. So. Cool. All right.
So just to recap a little bit. Oh, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, great. So just to recap, when you're sharing any images on Twitter, if you see a partner has already tweeted an image out, you can retweet rather than posting your own. You can always do both. But again, to continue with engagement and supporting other folks that are working on the campaign and supporting the campaign as well, a retweet can really go a long way. Additionally, utilizing the collab feature on Instagram, when you post a photo, in addition to tagging in a partner, an organization, you can also invite them to be a collaborator, and you would just, let them know in advance to approve, because you do require an approval to be a collaborator on Instagram. And so that is another way to share networks and share your platform on Instagram. And so we want to encourage folks to utilize that as well. And again, just reiterating, vertical videos are best for Instagram, Instagram Reels, and TikTok.
Also, something that we are also pushing for this campaign is to have you create your own videos around why you're signing the pledge and what Demand 9 and Title 9 means to you. So when you create those, please, please, please utilize the hashtags and tag the main coalitions, the Women's Sports Foundation, National Women's Law Center, and the Billie Jean King initiative, just so that we can all see your content and we can amplify it. And as well as the hashtags, we on the slide previously, we had a bunch of different hashtags. So if you could use those 4 or 5 hashtags, we'll be sure to find you. And then again, kind of repetitive, drive all content towards signing the pledge. We really appreciate all the signatures we have thus far, and we'd really love to get a lot more. There'll be another push around the student month of action. And then again, please share your content with us by filling out our content submission form. Like we said, we really appreciate everything that you're doing, and that as a group, we're working together to drive this initiative forward. So the ways in which social media is collaborative and the ways in which we support each other on social media are really helpful. If it's just hopping on one of the Demand 9 hashtags and just going and liking the posts that you see, or if you see something that you really, really like and you want to share it to your story, we're all working really hard around this, and social amplification is very easy to do, and it just makes us stronger as partners. So thank you for all that you've been doing, and we look forward to seeing everything that you're going to create.